Welcome back, here we are again, back on the Suffolk, early 14-inch Suffolk punch. Today we're going to do rings and rods, part 13. So since last week, haven't really done a lot to the mower, but I've been on the engine. The engine, I've honed the cylinder, we'll have a look at that in a minute. And it's had a thorough clean. The essence of building any engine, whether it's a little Suffolk 75cc or a V12 Jag, whatever, cleanliness is the best way to a good rebuild. So keeping it spotlessly clean in there is key, and especially with the Suffolk, I had that sandblasted, so I had to make sure that I got every bit of sand out of that block. So it's had a thorough clean. And obviously, well, we'll go through all the oil holes. Again, it's just you and me, so I'm going to get you in closer, and then we can have a good look at it, can't we? We can see what we think. Right, let me get you in closer. I'll try and keep this nice and steady. You can see what's what. Let's get that down. And see how we get on with that then. That's good. Excellent. Right, so I don't know whether you can see, but the cylinder honed quite well. There's a slight score down one side, but there's really very little lip on the cylinder and on the hole. When you think this is 1954, it's not looking bad. So yes, obviously it's had a good clean out, as I said. On the Suffolks here, you've got a couple of oil holes to make sure they're completely clear. There's one on the little bush there, on the main crank bush, that needs to be cleaned thoroughly. And then we've got another one that comes from the bottom there, that needs to be totally clean, and obviously cleaned all inside the valve chamber as well. So it's nice and clean in there, and sort of ready to go back together, really. So yeah, I think we are going to install the crankshaft. Well, we get the camshaft in first. Get ready to time it up. Nice and easy on these Suffolks. In fact, I'd go as far as say it was a treat. Wish all engines were as easy as this. And then we'll time it up, and then it will be time for piston rings. Luckily on the crankshaft on the Suffolks, just going back to oil holes, there's no oil holes to clean out. Just make sure the surfaces are nice and clean. So I think what we'll do, just before we go any further, we will, I've got my new piston rings here. So we've got one, that's the oil ring. Most of the time with piston ring sets, you do get some instructions on which piston ring goes where, because most of the time they are different. This set I got here didn't have any instructions. Sometimes the piston rings have a T, or they're marked for which way they go up. I've had a good look at these, and all three of them, the oil, the two compression rings, none of them are marked. But they are very slightly different. So as far as I can see, the oil ring, there isn't any different whichever way it goes round. But the two compression rings, this one, I don't know whether you can see, but it's got a very, very slight, it's got an angle on it, and I've just done a little drawing so you can probably see what the ring looks like. Let's have a look. So there we go. So the middle ring, you've got that little cutout on it. Top ring, there's a little sort of chamfer on the inside. It's very difficult to see, but there is. I've got another old piston that haven't disturbed with rings, and I've had a look, and that's how it is. So I think we've got to assume that that's how it is. I didn't take an awful lot of notice when I took the original rings off, but they were very, very warm, that's for sure. So anyway, we'll stick one of these rings in, and then we'll just see what they look like in the cylinder. So let's pop that one in, and then we'll see what sort of a ring gap we've got. So I don't know whether you can see, it's looking good, it's looking very tight. So what we're going to measure, for anybody that hasn't done one, we're going to measure the gap between the rings. There will be a wear limit, but again, this is an old machine. I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing the wear limit would probably be sort of probably 20, 25,000. If it's much over that, then time for new rings. So we'll just see what we've got in there. Let's have a look. So we'll do it does look quite tight, so let's see. So we'll get a 20 in there. So get that ring squared up a bit. We can get a 20 in there. So there obviously is a bit of wear on the bore, but it's certainly going to be an improvement. And as you can see, it looks quite tight. So, and it certainly feels quite good, that. So right, let's get on with it. So we're going to get the piston rings on the piston. So what I think we'll do is I'm going to turn you towards the vise, because I think the best thing to do is for me to put that piston in the vise, and then it's a bit of a tricky job to get the rings on there, hopefully without breaking them. So if I just turn you around a little bit towards the vise, hopefully see what's going on. So, right, let's get the piston in there. Good. So we're going to start with the oil ring, and I think we said that didn't really make any difference. I've had a good look at the oil ring, as I said, and it doesn't look like there's a right and a wrong way for that. So we're going to assume there isn't. So if we can get these on without breaking them, I'll be happy. Sort of twisting. That's the oil, and we want the middle. So this is the more tricky one. It's getting it over the first and then onto the middle. So if I'm going to break one, this is going to be the one. So I've got that on. That's good. Right, and then last but not least, top one. Good. And then obviously when we put the piston into the cylinder, we're going to stagger the ring gaps. So that there, and that one's about there. It's good. Right, so we'll leave that in the vise for a minute. I think we're going to get on with we'll fit the tappets, camshaft, and then crankshaft. I seem to remember with these Suffolks, you've got to put the camshaft and crank before you put the piston. So anyway, let's swing you back round again. You see the engine block. That's good. Right. So we've got to put the tappets in. These in here. I did mark them inlet and exhaust, but since then I've obviously cleaned it and I don't really know which one goes where, but I'm not sure whether it really matters. It would have been nice to put them back where they came, but I'm not sure. We will be rechecking the valve clearances anyway, so we're going to drop those back in there. They just drop in. Like so. Camshaft. So, as far as I can see, the timing marks, quite often with these, you'll either have a little dot on one of the tooth, but I think that's the timing mark there. So I think what we'll do, so to make it a bit easier, oh, we've also obviously cleaned all the oil holes out as well. Important. So we'll just mark this so it's all a bit easier to see. So I'm just going to put a little daub of silver paint on there. So we've done that. And on the crankshaft, already done that, I think. Yes, I've done that. So on the crankshaft, we have got our timing mark there. So what we're looking for so I don't know whether you can see, but what we're looking for is our little marks to line up. Not so easy with my arms in the way. Right, let's get the camshaft in so we can just hopefully knock that in. Bit of oil on the pin. So we can put the crankshaft in. So again, we'll put plenty of oil on the surfaces. All over my floor. So we need to concentrate on these timing marks. So let's line the, don't know whether you can see, hopefully you can see the camshaft there. Let's get the mark lined up, if you can see that. And we've got our crankshaft. Tooth out. Just do it till we get it right. Say we've got that about right. So I don't know whether you can, how well you can see that, but I'll bring you in a bit. So let's have a look. See, we'll have a look there. So whether we see those marks. So I think we're okay. What we'll do, obviously, when the engine's together, or nearly all together, we can check the timing on the valves. So we can do that, but they seem to be lined up nicely. So we're going to put the crank at the bottom, and we're going to have a go at putting the piston in. So let's swing it back over. Put some oil down the bore. And then we'll get our piston. This piston did go that way round with the writing outwards. And we've staggered all of our rings, so we can see our gap, one at the top there, and the middle one there, bottom one there, so we're staggered nicely. So we're going to drop that in, and then I've got a ring compressor, so we'll compress the rings. You can do this without a ring compressor, but it does make life a bit easier. Drop the piston down a bit. Just got to make sure we keep the ring compressor nice and flat. So, let's see if we can get the piston in. Throw it out and have a look. Not feeling quite so willing. Make sure not broken a ring or anything. Right, let's have another go then. Buckets of patience for these things. So we're writing that way, so right, let's have another go. Good. Right, piston in. So we want to just line our conrod up. Good. Right. Most of these small engines, they don't have any shells, so I think the importance of regular oil changes is very, very important. Right, so what do we want? We want the cap, so we've got that, and I think mark it, or I did take note of which way it goes. So a little cut out there, I seem to remember. Yes, there's a little notch there, so that's the way that goes. We'll drop that on. Good, a little bit more oil. got our big M bolts with our oil splasher. And then once we've tightened them up, then we're going to fold over the lock tab on each screw. So we're going to drop that in. What I'll do is I'm going to nip them up first. And just make sure it still feels okay. And then we'll tighten it all the way up. Ah, adapter. Let's make sure that still turns. Yep. So I'm not sure on torque settings. Couldn't find any information, but I've got a Briggs and Stratton service chart here, and I think what we're going to do, we're going to take, because a lot of the small Briggs and Strattons don't have any shells on the big end and they are just a small side valve engine, I'm going to assume we can torque those bolts up. They're a similar sort of size. They're saying on most of their 900 series 100 inch-pounds, which isn't that much. So I think what we'll do, we will torque them up to 80, see what 80 feels like, so we know we've got them even. And then we may go up to 100, so let's see how we get with that. Let's find 80 inch-pounds. Okay. Right. Yep. That's 80. So I think we'll go for 100, and then we'll knock the tabs over. Good. Right, that turns over nicely. So let's fold those tabs over. So you can see what I've done either side, just to stop them coming undone. And just turn it over. Yep, it's all turning over nicely. So what I've got to do, I haven't done yet, I've got a new head gasket. And I've got a new valve chest gasket, but what I haven't got is I haven't got the side cover gasket, a new one of those, and nor have I got a sump gasket. So I've got to make those two. So that's going to be a little job for next week, and then we can make a bit more progress. I've done the magneto. We'll go into that, but I've tested the coil, replace the condenser, clean the points. So let's put you back over there. Good. So I'm going to call it a night. It's time for a cup of tea. yeah, I've got to do some gaskets before we go any further. And then, like I say, we can put the back plate on, and then we can put the sump on. And then it'll be valves. It's exciting, isn't it? So nice to make some progress. Anyway, hope it was useful to you. And if you feel like having a go at a Suffolk engine, they're lovely things to work on. Plenty of them around. And you can still get quite a few bits for them. Rather nice when they're running as well. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and till the next one, it may well be next week, see how we get on, and we'll see if we can, yeah, get a little bit closer to getting it finished. Anyway, thanks for watching.